getting ahead in life. And yes, I mean getting ahead in life while optimum health and wealth is in the picture for you. You know, improving yourself. A Course in Miracles does, and what we're going to discuss today, help us be a better person, help us have success in life, and help us to really understand what it takes to begin getting ahead in life. I hope that makes sense. Hey everybody, James Nussbaumer for the For a Better Life podcast. Thank you for joining me this morning. And for those of you that are live, wherever you are in the world, please understand that where I'm at in Northeast Ohio right now is 6 a.m. in the morning. So it's a little, early for me, but not really because I'm an early riser. But I mean, it's early for me. I mean, give me another few hours, I might be in a different, tone. But, I love 6 in the morning. And the reason it's for 6 in the morning, this podcast for success in life and to be a better person and, getting ahead in life, which we're going to discuss today. The reason for that is because at 6 in the morning it's a time frame that we figured out through all of my listeners and followers on Twitter, Facebook, and the readers of my books and wherever they're at and tucked into all those little crannies around the world, that it just seems like with the time zones everywhere, 6 in the morning is a good time. Now, it might not be a good time for those that are in California because they are 3 hours behind, but then again, those in Europe, which in England and Germany for some reason, Switzerland, Norway, the Netherlands, Finland, I've got several followers. So it accommodates everyone. And by the way, this is being recorded and will be posted at my blog site with a detailed article on everything that I'm talking about today. And it's also on YouTube. So you can go to YouTube and listen to it anytime that you want. But, today's topic is spurred me to bring this on with a message that I had gotten from Steve in Rhonda of Chalfont, Pennsylvania. Now, Chalfont, Pennsylvania, and that's kind of odd because, first of all, there's a company that let me back up. Not first of all. First of all, Chalfont, Pennsylvania is a place that I had been to when I was maybe, 12 or 13 years old, around that age, something like that. And my father's best friend, who grew up with my dad in Northeast Ohio, ended up moving to Chalfont, Pennsylvania, and we loaded up the truck. When I say the truck, my dad had a pickup truck. This was in the late 60s, had a pickup truck with a cap on the back, kind of like a camper type of thing on the back, and loaded us all 6 of us kids. I was the oldest. Loaded us all in this and made it comfortable. He put pads down and cushions in there. It was very comfortable. And it was summertime, and we drove through the Pocono Mountains from Northeast Ohio to Chalfont, Pennsylvania to spend maybe a week with my dad's friend, his best friend that he grew up with. So, that's kind of interesting that Rhonda and Steve are, getting back to me from Chalfont, Pennsylvania, but also, again, which is ironic and kind of, in there is that I do business with someone that's helping the marketing of my books that is in Chalfont, Pennsylvania, right in Chalfont. So it's a small little town, a small town, but it's like, 50 miles outside of Philadelphia, something like that. It's around Philadelphia. But anyway, so Steve and Rhonda, I hope that little story, but I thought that was just, when See, my dad's friend who had, that we went to see in Chalfont had a bunch of children our age. There were 6 of us. I think they had 4, and there were 6 of us. And we got along like we were cousins or something. No, it was just they had a swimming pool in their backyard, and it was tremendous. We just got along with them, us kids and their kids, and that kind of thing. So anyways, enough of that. Now let's get moving forward. But Steve and Rhonda wanted to know more about, you talked about, you've written an article. This is Steve and Rhonda talking to me. By the way, they messaged me on Facebook at my page, but you could also go to my website if you're there now and just go to the contact page and message me there. But they wanted to know more about reflection of self. You talked about in an article, Jim, that you'd wrote. I'm reading from their message about reflection of self helps us to begin judging less and being aware that sin, S-I-N, is not real and no longer occupies our way of thinking. Can you expand on that, Jim? Is what Steve and Rhonda, who they say follow the lessons of A Course in Miracles. And you don't have to be, following the lessons of A Course in Miracles to be listening to this today. No way. It's just something that I do. It's a good psychological content, and it's spiritual, metaphysical principles that are just another one of many universal spiritual principles that are out there for everyone. But I just seem to love A Course in Miracles. It just thrills me. I just love reading. I can dive into the text of, and by the way, most of my books, well, about all my books, I should say, not most of them, the first 3 are out right now, but there's many more to come, are based on reflections, I should put it, I guess, of A Course in Miracles. So let's get going. And what I want to talk about, getting ahead in life and, your health and wealth and to improve yourself and be a better person and success in life. Reflection of self helps us begin judging less, and in this way of being, sin, S-I-N, no longer occupies the space in our minds that we made between ourselves and the wholeness that we are with each other, which is brother/sisters with each other. If that makes sense. If I'm whole with you and you're whole with me in spirit, wouldn't that mean we're brothers? Yeah, we could put brother/sister in there because, for the fair overtone of female versus male, but really in reality, there is no such thing as sexual personalities, and there's no brother, sister, female, male in eternity. But we use the word brother because it's popular. It's written all through the Bible, and the Bible is our foundation on a lot of things with our divinity. So we hang on to that word. And so, but A Course in Miracles states that love knows no bodies and reaches to everything created like itself. Now just think about that. I'm going to repeat that again very quickly. Love knows no bodies and reaches to everything created like itself. Love is not a body. What is it? Okay. Then we have the ego-based mind, which is that aspect of us all that thinks we are a body. In all of us, it is the ego. As humans, the ego likes to, in the space that it can't figure out why it's separated and split apart from what is whole, the ego likes to claim that as what's called sin. Now bear with me, because I know that might be confusing, but when we shine the truth of love, what really is love, the truth of love, when we shine that kind of space over top of sin, which really isn't there anyway because it's not real, as a reflection of self, truth becomes all that we are. Meaning, all that you want to do in life, all that you want to accomplish, all that you want to do to begin getting ahead in life, those kind of things. But this leaves us room for what we truly do want, and this is how many of the most influential people that ever walked this planet, how they have found their way to success. Now, keep in mind, as you're listening to me now, also, if you're at YouTube, I'm going to be placing a link, an access link in the description area down below that will give you an awesome video through my website that will tell you more about the power of manifestation and how to actually, find your way to success. That thing that's in you that you really want to do, but you're not able to do. So, check that out. But now let's go on here deeper a little bit and say, as sin, S-I-N, and all other illusions, because sin is really an illusion in the real world, and I'm trying to hopefully clear this up for Steve and Rhonda from Chalfont, Pennsylvania. But as sin and all other illusions are cleared away from that space that sin occupies, it now becomes a connection or a link to brother to brother. And we're going to get into that because I got a neat story. A cute little story, very cute. But, this place where brother to brother connect, we can say that's the face of Christ. How do brother to brother connect? I mean, brother to brother. I have a brother of my siblings, but I'm talking about you listening to me. Whether you're female or male, let's forget about male or female. Who you are, you're my brother. I'm your brother. That's the brother I'm talking about. This place where brother to brother connect is the face. That's the face of Christ. That brother to brother interconnection. That is Christ. Filling in the space where sin is no more. And this alignment is so important, is important for a successful and happy life when understanding it. And yes, I mean, finding happiness and is why I so strongly suggest meditation exercises, which I love. And also at my website, check out the 7-minute breathing meditation. It is awesome. If you don't know how to do mindfulness meditation, check that out. You'll love it. Let me take a sip of coffee. Speaking of coffee, I bought the popular brands, and I go to Starbucks, and I love Starbucks. I'm not knocking Starbucks in any way. No way would I ever do that because they're great. And there's other special coffees and everything, but I always get back to that one special brew that is sold at the grocery store that my dad always liked, and he's deceased now about a year. But so I kind of stick to that because it's good and it costs less. But I still like Starbucks too. But now think about this cute story about rising above adversity, overcoming life challenges, about all the things that I've just mentioned, like getting ahead in life, your health and your wealth. Think about that. Now here's a story that I want to tell you. And it goes like this. A wild and wanton wind one day invaded a peaceful nest where a family of seeds, little seeds like you'd plant in a garden, where a family of seeds lived. Without invitation, the boastful breeze, which was very windy, more than a breeze, kidnapped the tiniest of the defenseless little kernels and carried it away. The single seed who was lost fell into a strange alien turf. Here alone and lost, it rolled across a concrete sidewalk until it was stopped by a dry crack in the barren concrete. Next, an innocent, hapless heel of a human being, of a boot, the heel on his boot, stepped on that seed, not knowingly, as he was walking by the sidewalk, and it wedged it in deep into a crevice, and the little seed was trapped. Well, it became imprisoned. Excuse me. It was a prisoner. It was an imprisoned refugee in that crack, helpless and hopeless. Excuse me again. The seed was imprisoned in that crack, didn't know what to do, discarded and separated from its family. It was alone. It was an orphan now. It was an orphan seed, clamped tight in a deep, dark canyon that seemed endless. Then it all happened, trusting in its fate. Yes, its fate, and letting go of the past. Deep within the heart of that seed, there stirred up, yes, there stirred a strange but miraculous, very miraculous life force. It came to see the sidewalk and the whole world as both its means and its purpose for sprouting. Well, when the first gentle drop of morning mist oozed into that crack in the concrete, into the cement, this small, tiny seed with determination welcomed and absorbed the friendly moisture. Well, then came along little wisps of dust, just dust, moved by a gentle breeze, slipped into the crack to blanket the struggling seed, which cried out, "I shall take root and I will grow regardless of how I got here." Sound familiar? Softly and silently, it sent out microscopic, hairy roots that discovered inner crevices in the unlikely environment of that concrete situation. There, in miniature hidden caves in the concrete, the tender tendrils found more moisture, more powdery nourishment, until the seed, swollen with determination, broke wide open and burst forth with a new life. And on a bright sunny morning, a blade of grass, yes, a single blade of grass, green, very green, with enthusiasm, popped out of the concrete, popped out of the crack of the concrete and onto the sidewalk, and was a healthy piece of grass. Now smiling at the sun, laughing at the rain, waving at the wind, it proudly declared, the little seed, which is now a blade of grass, proudly declared, "Here I am, world. I used your help, and I made it, regardless of all the mishappenings that came my way." Whoa, you still thinking about that? I better take a sip of coffee after telling you that story. But let's talk about what may seem or feel like the end, and most likely indeed is the end. Coffee, okay. Now, as I say that, therefore, welcome it. Welcome the end as it is the end of the past, and step forward into a new dawn with reflection of self. Terminations in our life turn into transitions, which nourish our transformations. This is where we find our opportunities for a new inspiration feeding on exciting ambition. Stephen Rhonda, does that help you answer? Stephen Rhonda of Chalfont, does that help a little bit? But let me continue. The path we choose is far less important than the teacher that we choose. There are only two teachers to choose from: the Holy Spirit, which I call as your inner divine essence, or your inner divine truth. Your inner divinity is what I call the Holy Spirit, and which is what A Course in Miracles helps me see. And A Course in Miracles uses the Holy Spirit too, which is a traditional term, and I like to use that because it's traditional and it's easy to understand. But in a psychological aspect, the Holy Spirit is your true inner psychological mindful essence. Or then you can choose either the ever doubting and fearful ego. And either one of these teachers point to two different directions. Yes, both are pointing two different ways. Whether you have realized it or not, you have always been on the path to spiritual freedom and reflection of self. By the way, that's why I urge that you check out this system for tapping into the power of the mind, which is in the description area of this YouTube video. Or if you're at my blog listening to that, you'll see a link there for that. But, but now that you are trying to understand the lessons of your chosen teacher, the path of oneness does not lead you to heaven unless you are following the right teacher, which is where you will always be, which is where you've always been. You just only have been in a dream of sort and haven't woken up, or you haven't raised your head to the sun, to the light, to say, this is who I really am. The point is, let me repeat that and put it a little bit differently, the phrase I just said. The path of oneness will lead you to heaven. Because like the little seed, everything that came along after the boot tramped on him saw everything as one in motion to get him to grow. He or she. Pardon me, you females. So in other words, forget the sexual overtone. He, she, it doesn't matter. So the point is, maybe this will clear this up, with a great principle from A Course in Miracles that further states, does not a world that seems quite real arise in dreams? Yet think what the world is to yourself. What is the world to you? The dream of life, the dream of sin, the dream of separation, the dream of fear and doubt can only lead to continued dreaming nightmares and fears that take you nowhere, as long as you're listening to the wrong teacher. While the proper teacher will slowly, the right teacher, the right-minded teacher, will slowly help you to awaken by your reflection of self with a capital S. And by the way, I also suggest that you check out an article at my blog on how to make your life better with some great affirmations. And you can get that by going to jamesnussbaumer.com/wonderful affirmations or something like that. You'll find it. But if you're having problems understanding what I'm talking about in relation to the seed trying to grow from that crack in the concrete, it is because of all of your trust, or let's say most of your trust, has been in the wrong teacher. This teacher has directed your focus to your body as who you are and taught you your thinking to be concrete, where there can be no reflection of self. Let me say that we must understand that the concrete ends at the graveyard with our name chiseled into stone. Ooh, boy, that's a little tough, isn't it? Think about that. And, that's why I urge you to check out more on how you may reflect your dreams into reality by hanging on to the abstract versus the concrete. Yes, the concrete was there with the little seed that made it and turned into a blade of grass through the concrete. But he didn't let the concrete imprison him. The abstract was the sun, the rain, maybe the moon late at night, whatever it was. And that's just part of the dream that we're in. So while we're in this dream of life and time and space and material form, are we going to hang on to doom and gloom because a boot kicked us down like the little seed experience? Or are we going to just sprout from that because of our inner true essence, the Holy Spirit within us? It's your choice to die doom and gloom, down in the crack, the concrete squeezing around you, or bursting through with abstract thinking and positive outlook. Hey, before I close, boy, this was fun. Sometimes I gotta be sure I don't go too deep, because if I do, I could carry on for hours. So, by the way, I hope that you enjoyed this. And by the way, I invite you to sign up for my Everyday Miracles Mastermind newsletter. And that's where we, meaning you, the reader, and I, the author, we bring our mind together for self-success and for a much better world. Hey, please check out my books. My third book. Okay, for those of you that don't know me, my third book has just been released of an ever-developing series. The first book, The Master of Everything. It's a story of mankind in the world of illusion we call life. And then there is the second book, the sequel, called Mastering Your Own Spiritual Freedom. And number 3 is called And Then I Knew My Abundance. All 3 books are reflections of A Course in Miracles, but great stories. I'm getting a lot of good vibrations from this third book. People are telling me that this is the one. You know how that goes. So I hope that you'll check them out. I've written all 3 of these books to where you don't have to read them in the order I'd written them to get benefit. In other words, you could buy the third book that is just now being released, And Then I Knew My Abundance. You could buy that book and never have read the first 2. In fact, I even state that in that book in the introduction, and then you would be fine. And then by the time you read it, you're going to be like, whoa, I love this. I'm going to have to go buy book 1 and book 2. But if you've already read book 1 and if you've already read book 2, now you need to get book 3, and you will really be armed for what Steve and Rhonda of Chalfont, Pennsylvania wanted to know about. How can I begin? How can I even begin getting ahead in life? So, that's really what it's all about. And by the way, hey, I got to get going here, but let me do a little bit of housekeeping and say, please follow me on YouTube. Oh, I would love to have you as a subscriber in Twitter. Please follow me on Twitter and at Facebook, at Google+. And if you've enjoyed this and you have something like Steve and Rhonda of Chalfont, Pennsylvania, wanted to, make sure that I cleared up, hey, message me at Twitter, message me at Facebook, or priority would be at my website. Go to the contact page that's in the menu and send me a little message, and I will. That's probably top priority to get to me. But I got to go, and it's been nice speaking with you today. But I want to say, like I always do, please keep considering what a great individual you are, even by you listening to me this far. You know how that means that you are dedicated to aligning yourself to your own true free will, to living a life of purpose and passion, the life that you want? That's why you're listening to me this far. But I hope that you're understanding that your natural beauty within needs to be extended to the rest of the world. so the world can grab on and be at one with you mindfully. And if that's a little hard to grab hold of right now, read my books. It's very simple. My books are metaphysically written and spiritually oriented and inspirational oriented, but they're easy to understand and very down to earth. Hey, I gotta go. Thanks for coming on to this podcast this morning. I love you. You're awesome. Gotta go. James Nussbaumer signing off. God bless.